Mike has some additional rules. So we're going to do Q&A through lunch. We'll probably take a 10-minute break at 10 of 1, and then from 1 to 1:15 is girl power. And then the session you've all been anxiously awaiting for, where we talk about some of the more pressing issues such as best of one and skills. So this is Brad, and he'll answer the Q&As on IT stuff.
Thank you, Dan. I had a chance to read through all the cards that you guys have submitted on Tournament Manager and IT-related things, and you know, we'll just go one by one here. And if you're the author of the card and I have a question, maybe you'll raise your hand for me. The first one is, you know, for an event, provide the opportunity for a team to give the event partner feedback. You know, maybe like a 1 to 5 scale or Likert scale to evaluate, hey, how did the event go? And then maybe a single text box to add a comment or a suggestion into. And the question is, could we make it where the event partner could see that average score that was entered and the comments? You know, honestly, I don't see why not. I kind of turn this around and, you know, as event partners, how many of you would like to get this feedback from the teams? Okay, so a little less than half say this is a good thing. How many of you would object to having the teams be able to rate on a scale of, say, 1 to 5 and leave a comment or suggestion? How many of you would object to this? Yes. Okay, so a small number of objections. It is not public, it is private and available only to the people listed as event administrators in this case. Right, there is a survey option for you to send it out now. We're talking about an added function beyond that. Okay. Good to know. We'll look at what it would take to do that. Again, there is already a survey feature available in Robot Events. All you guys have to do is set it up and send that survey, you know, out. The survey is automatically available to be filled out by teams as soon as the event is over. So, you know, as soon as the event is finalized, that survey can be filled out by teams. So we'll have to think about this a little bit. It seems like duplication of effort. Okay, this one on TM Mobile. Can students sign off and agree with scores actually on the mobile device? Again, this is one that I turn this around on you. How many of you have your referees or scorekeepers at the event have the students verify the score? Please show me your hands if you do that. Okay, so you're already investing the time in this process. The question is, can the students explicitly click on the screen to accept the score? I think that we can probably make that a feature that can be enabled in TM Mobile. So let us work on that. I think we can probably do that. Does anybody have a reason? They're not going to sign it. They'll just click yes or no. That would be as good as it's going to be. Yeah. The question? That's a great clarification. A team will only verify their own score. That would be the way that you would have to have it work. The Red Alliance would, you know, approve of their own score, and the Blue Alliance would approve their own score. I'm sorry, what's that? The Alliance together needs to approve their score, not each team individually. We haven't implemented it yet, so we don't have any rules associated with what you could do next. Yeah. Well, I think the key would be if they said no, that it would just default back to the score screen, with the score entry screen, so that they could, change the count or explain to the kids why the count was what it was. Which given the number of hands that was already demonstrated, everybody raised, you guys are already spending the time to do that, so I don't feel like it's extra time. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, right. Yeah. So maybe yes under protest, and no. Well, having a button for an alliance to confirm their score, but not comment on the other alliance's score. I guess I was making an assumption that we probably agree that giving students an opportunity to challenge the other team's score will be an added amount of time to each of your matches at each and every one of your events. So I was assuming that we wouldn't want the Red Alliance to be explicitly approving the Blue Alliance's score.
Right there, they can't count what's on there.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Why don't we take the action item to go do some more polling and explore whether or not we should be having each team on an alliance agree to it, or just the alliance themselves. I think it's fair to say that not everybody is in agreement on that, and we need to figure out the right way to implement that. So, go ahead. Yeah, and the idea would be that if no was clicked, it would just take it right back to the score entry screen, so that maybe we just put a back button instead. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so we're going to explore this one, see what we can come up with, and we have a little research. Sounds like everybody does this already, and this would just be a way for the system to match the way that events are currently being run. Got it. Can states make their own database of robot pictures to use at their tournaments? I think I'm going to have to ask for a little more information on this one. Is anybody the author of Can States Make Their Own Database of Robot Pictures to Use at Their Tournaments? Are we talking about in-tournament manager, or are we talking about access to the ones that get uploaded to robot events? I'm not really sure, so if the author can elaborate on this, it would be super helpful. Well, it's great that you mentioned that. For Vex Worlds this previous season, Vex Worlds 2018, we actually did integrate some taking robot pictures and storing them on robot events, associating them with teams. Did we do up to 3? Just catching you up. So for Vex Worlds, we did this. Grant and I were just chatting about. We did allow 3 pictures of each robot, 2 to 3 pictures of each robot to be uploaded. We need to discuss a little bit more about how we would roll it out. We did it in a hurry for this year's Vex Worlds, to see how it would work, first of all, but second of all, so that we were able to better enforce various inspection rules and various competition rules. Let us figure that out. To be honest with you, I can see a way that this could happen eventually, but I don't know if it's this year or next year, or if it's a scaled down version of it, or I'm not sure, but I think we can do something. So that's a solution outside of robot events and tournament manager. So what he was suggesting is using a Google Drive. Is that, using Google Drive to, at each tournament during the season, take a picture of a robot and put their picture in, a folder in your Google Drive, and have each event partner have access to that throughout the season. What we were elaborating on a minute ago is we have created a picture storage section of robot events where teams now can go in and upload up to 3 pictures. Referees can go in and upload up to 3 pictures referees, inspectors of a robot. The teams can also upload images, like pictures of their teams and stuff. So we have some stuff in robot events already. I don't know if we definitely don't have it in a way that you guys can use it like that yet. But again, like I said, I can easily see us finding a way to roll some of this out, integrate some of the stuff together moving forward. Let us take that action item and work on that. I don't know, can't provide an answer. This is how we're going to do it today. But I do know, seems like a good idea. Seems like it could improve, the judge experience with teams, for example. And, I think there's good reasons to try to do some work on that stuff. So. Yeah, I think there's definite advantages to doing something like this, and we'll figure out how we can adapt what we tried to use at World Championship for use at the local level. Okay, the next one was creating an MC app to take notes on teams for facts, trivia, etc. To minimize and remove the paperwork, the printed announcer schedule that gets created. Allowing the announcers or MCs to hold a tablet instead of a clipboard. We have a list of TM mobile improvements that we would like to make over time. That has actually been on the list for 2 years, and we've prioritized other things over it to this point. We're going to keep it on the list. We're going to keep, as time permits and resources allow. I think it's a good suggestion. We thought it was a good suggestion then, and we'll try to get it done one of these months, years. Okay. 2 team alliances. With 3 team alliances, we could set TM to allow unbalanced alliances. So there could be a 2-team alliance as one of the seeds. Can you confirm that with 2 team alliances, there will no longer be unbalanced alliances? That's correct. Tournament manager will not allow you to do an alliance of 1 team. Any questions on that? Did everybody catch what the question was? It is in the manual. So. Okay, perfect. Reading the wrong side of that card. Slides in Tournament Manager that allow multi-line text for like an event partner meeting, a concession price, or general notes. we could definitely do this. We'll figure out a way for you to build a custom 3-line slide. Just pretty point blank. You can figure out how to do a custom 2-line slide now if you play with it, but the 3rd line, we'll see if we can just have that. So the key here is understanding, with tournament manager slides, we create a space for text to be entered on a slide template. So you won't be able to change everything about the slide. You'll only be able to change the fields that we make changeable. So it looked to me like there were 3 lines on the request, and you had specifically said multi-line request. So my thought was that, I think you know where I'm going here. My thought is if we add a customizable 3-line slide for you guys, and we have a sliding scale for the text size on it, that you guys can get most of the information you're looking for in there. For slides like code of conduct, I think it would make sense to have a separate conversation/evaluation about whether or not that is a slide that you'd like to be able to show at an event. Right. Perfect. And I only have one more, so that's perfect. VRC Hub on iOS does not download the current manual. My answer is, okay, we will fix that. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Brad. I got a few game ones, so chime in if you want, but I should be playing one. The first one was robot design, pneumatics, increased reservoir to 3 tanks, more actuators. Was this Marcus? Was this your card? All right. Yeah. So the pneumatics used to be open to unlimited pneumatics, and that resulted in some crazy have-not situations. And we reduced it down to 2. It's a limit. Doesn't mean it's the exact right limit. We look at it every year, so we'll consider that. Is there? So this is related to the signing the score sheets question. Question is, how do/can we deal with students challenging scores when text submitted by tablets? So I'll first say that handling scoring disputes is probably one of the more difficult things that referees have to deal with, absolutely, especially like at Worlds and stuff. So I don't have a 100% silver bullet answer for how to handle this in every situation. What I would absolutely recommend is the person who asked this question, if you want to come to the referee Q&A session, breakout session this afternoon, I'd love for some of the other head refs in the room to chime in with their strategies and best practices. But I will say what I do at Worlds is we, first off, we don't review videos and photos, obviously. We try to get as much of a complete picture of the match as possible. In some games that's easier than others. You try to talk to as many of the teams involved in the match as possible. Don't just talk to the one team that has come to you with the complaint. Talk to the other alliance, talk to their partners. In many cases, if it really is a legitimate mistake, which humans make mistakes sometimes, you'll find that the opposing alliance is usually amenable to fixing the score because you can explain that it's all about fairness and the interest of the integrity of the sport and so on and so forth. But I am by no means an expert on this topic, and so again, I would invite you to come to the ref Q&A, and some of our other head refs here can chime in on that. Drawn picture of 2 robots scuffling on the center platform with the question, is protected. So same thing, I'm not going to answer this directly because not everybody can see the picture that's drawn up here. What I will say is that this exact topic is going to be covered in the ref training videos, which will be released at the end of August. You also can feel free to draw this up, post it as a Q&A, and the entire GDC will get the chance to weigh in on it. And I will also be honest in saying that some of the discussions we had yesterday about this rule have already caused Paul and I and some of the other GDC members to think maybe we look at this rule a little bit differently for the August update. So that's why I'm not going to answer that question directly, because revised answers will be coming. Can we use skills rankings to modify qualification rankings? For example, top skills score gets 2 win points, second skills score gets 1 win point. It's kind of a cool idea. Rankings, much like alliance structure and all those other things, are not set in stone. We look at tweaking it all the time. IQ had a slight tweak last year. Obviously the DQ change this year was put into place. So I kind of like it. Dan wrote on the cards that he likes it as well. We'll investigate it. Using like top skills teams to get like an extra win point or something in the rankings. It may not be that exact implementation, but finding a way to tie this together. We'll discuss it. In future games, and Paul, you might want to weigh in on this one as well, but in future games, can portability of fields be considered? This year's game is a transportation nightmare. We transport many fields between events to keep costs down for schools and EPs. Yes. So I've had some cool conversations with people yesterday and today about the game design process and the constraints that we use that go into it. Portability, assembly time, does it fit in a trailer, does it fit in a truck, does it fit in a Civic? Are all things that are constraints that we work under to try and create the best experience for event partners as well as your volunteers that are helping set up the field. Some games hit it better than others. I'm guessing that the person who wrote this card wasn't an EP for Roundup, which was the absolute worst for transporting. So we're getting better each year, but it's a tough question to answer, because the direct answer to your question is yes, we consider it. But it all comes at the expense of the pluses and minuses of, we really wanted a 5-foot tall net, and really wanted these 3 structures that you could shoot balls at and toggle. So there's a lot of factors that go into that field design. VRC, please increase autonomous time! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Computer programming is a very important career path. At least increase it for the second half of the season. Yeah. And Dan wrote on there, Paul's answer on this is perfect. So, no, because this also comes up at every GDC meeting, and it's something that everybody's looking to move more towards into AI, more into coding, more into emphasizing these areas. That's why we have the programming skills challenge. That's why in Turning Point we added the autonomous line. The short answer to this question is we already struggle painfully hard to get 5%, 10% of teams driving forward in autonomous mode. And until we are at a point where we are at, 40%, 50%, until, 20, he says 25%, making the audience have to sit through 30 seconds of robots not moving is just not something we're interested in doing. Anybody who's been to local VaxU events have seen this. They sit there for 45 seconds not moving. It's really rough. And so that is not entirely on game design. Some of that is on developing and implementing better coding solutions, and coding trainings, and all that stuff. So that's a programmatic direction that we want to move in. But at least for this season, and I can probably tell you for next season, we're probably not going to be increasing the time. The best and skills challenge, I mentioned that. For the teams who really want to emphasize programming in their programs, compete for that skills challenge. In every state, I can't say in every state, but I do know in Texas, there was a situation 2 seasons ago where a team missed the skills cutoff to get into the state championship by 4 points or something, and they had not done a single programming skills run. If they had even driven the robot forward and scored one thing, that would have put them above everybody else that didn't do programming skills runs. So that's really how you emphasize it more. And to the person who wrote this question, and to other people who want to see increased autonomous times, the best thing that you can do is help to train teams to get those robots moving in autonomous, help doing coding seminars and things like that. Yeah. Yeah, so that's a good question. Yes, if you increase the autonomous bonus, in addition to increasing time, would that incentivize more teams to compete? Possibly, but you also have to balance it against other elements of the game. Like figuring out scoring differential is a very challenging part of the game design. It's something we look at all the time. If, like I mentioned yesterday, we have a person from RoboMatter on the game design committee. If it was up to him, the autonomous bonus would be 60 points, right? And which is a fair viewpoint. So we look at it every year. Yeah, we do look at it. And okay, so why not recycle game elements? Students will cycle through, and this will save schools money and be environmentally responsible. This is also something that we look at every year. There's a lot of different answers to this. One is if we use an old game object, the answer keys are out there already. Like they can go on YouTube and search in the zone winning robot and then just use that design for their cones. You also could run into unfair advantages for programs that use those game elements and versus teams who didn't. There's a lot of different things that go into that, but that's not to say that it isn't something that we look at each year. Oh yes, and to the environment. Thank you for reminding me. For the environmentally responsible comment, all of the plastic used in game design throughout books or just in game design. I'll say in game design for sure. Okay, all plastic used in VEX is recyclable plastic. So if you do have extra game pieces at the end of the season, you can take it and get it recycled. Oh, I didn't actually know that. And we use about 5% recycled plastic in our game objects themselves. So we are also undergoing that recycling venture. We've looked into that. He asked why don't we put the recycled logo on the recyclable logo. I know we've looked into that. We'll look into it. We'll look into it. Whoever asked me that, come to me get tonight, and I will have an answer for you. Okay, what is the competition structure with both V5 and Cortex? I think this means like, do Cortex teams and V5 teams play at the same tournaments? Yes, there's no differentiation between V5 and Cortex teams as far as the tournament structure goes. The way that we attempted to balance it is by hindering the voter limits on V5 teams and those things of that nature. How many times can a team knock a cap off before they are DQ'd? This is actually probably a better Q&A question, but I will just say it's going to be a bit of a referee judgment call. It is impossible to provide a blanket answer to a hypothetical snapshot of a match. I think it's the third time I've said that this week. In training this was a separate topic, but it's on my card. In training new coaches, what is a good balance on topics? How much is game design process, note-taking, programming, judging, etc. important? Dan wrote me the note. Talk to your regional sport manager. They're your best resource for that type of question. And then on plates, well, I'll let Paul take that one. Let me get it back to him. Okay, and then I have some quick. How will the discount code for EP distributed before August? I'm assuming this was from somebody in Canada, because US EPs don't use discount codes. So just come find me or talk to Richard after this session and we'll chat with you. I know that RECF is an American nonprofit, but what can be done to grow robotics competitions in Canada? So the reason why I got this one is it's also part of my title as Global Competition Manager, is I work with the VEX competition support managers in Canada, Asia, Australia, and Latin America. And so Canada is a huge growth opportunity for us. I'm guessing this question was written as you were learning about all of the crazy district grants and stuff that they're doing in the US. I will say that we're looking really heavily into how we can apply some of that stuff outside of the US with the logistical and accounting hurdles that come along with that. But I literally had an email in like 4 days ago asking, getting a conversation started about more improved grants and EP programs outside of the US. So always working to improve, and if you have specific ideas, please chat with Richard or myself or other people in that area. Okay, that was all of my game questions. I'll lead you off with the plate topping question and then go into your questions.
I have 5 minutes, so I'm going to do as many as I can now. We'll have one of... Oh yeah, we'll rapid fire those. Okay, so we'll answer the clone robot rule. So, rule, I think it's R1-3, whatever the rule is about 2 robots. A lot of people, gotta love the English language, a lot of people assume it's a clone robot. It is not a clone robot. It is, we had significant issues this year because of the, I'll take the pick, pull it up, Grant and I'll take the pull it up this one. The ambiguity in our rules last year, that teams thought it was okay to use a robot that a team had used, but that team A used this robot, they won an event, but they were going to improve their robot, so they left that to the side, took their plates up, a whole new robot, which is perfectly legal, and used that robot. But what they did, that we didn't want to happen, is they would take their old robot, give it to another team, and that team can be used somewhere else. That is plate swapping. That is absolutely 100% not allowed, given the rules this year. Okay? That's the clear case of plate swapping. Basically what we say is, this is not a clone robot rule. I'm going to say it again. This is not a clone robot rule. We're trying to figure out how to address clone robots. We have experimented with some things in China. Our Chinese equivalents of Grant, the people that report up to Grant in China, they have a system where they take pictures of robots. You saw that we implemented that at Worlds this year. They also go above and beyond because they got more than plate swapping. They got driver swapping. It's crazy. That they have actually used as a criteria to qualify out of China that clones of the original robot wouldn't even be allowed to come. So that's why this year you saw a lot less, still not completely eliminated, but a lot less clones coming from that side of the world because we actually tried to implement something. It had negatives, it had some positives, it's not ready for prime time, but the rules that we wrote this year are all about, no, don't give your robot to someone else, don't have a different robot for skills, and then use this other robot for regular competition and go back and use the skills robot. That's not what we're looking for. What we're looking for, the intent is build a robot, compete. You want to make improvements to it, have at it. You want to rebuild an entire new robot, have at it. That old robot is no longer allowed to be used. Period. That's the intent of this rule. They can't switch back and forth. That's the intent. If you have abandoned this, like your team, right? And if they're chucking the new design and using the old one, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, we don't want specialized robot for skills in VRC. If that's you, it's perfectly legal. In practice. Well, it was last year. I have to make sure it was. We're designing the 2020-2021 game now, so we're 2 games ahead of this game. So sometimes we get, but anyway, that's the plate swapping rule. It's like, I'm Team A, I won a tournament. You cannot give your robot to Team B, C, D, other team across the country, the world. It's not. Okay. 1 minute. Let's talk about V5. Oh, this is an easy one. Vex. Vex have a scholarship program, like First Lego League, given their Vex presence, or their plans to implement one. So Vex, the company, RECF has a scholarship program. Vex, we do ours through internships, and we do it kind of silent. We're trying to figure out and get some of our partners to embrace the plan too. But all of my interns come from either VRC or FRC, or both. So you'll see a bunch of interns working when you guys do the training. We're doing a tour later today. You'll see a bunch of my interns working. You'll recognize probably some of them if they're from your area. But we have an internship program. It's not like a formal part of the competition, but I'm always scouting. Always scouting. Well, yeah. Your daughters are much better than you. 3 of them have worked for IFI at any given time, so I have actual evidence of this. Okay, so dinner time, I'll answer the rest of them. There's a bunch of questions about V5. There's a bunch of questions about best of 1. We will get to those, I promise. It's just that I'm trying to keep us on schedule, give you guys a final break before the next session. So keep the questions coming. Dan and I are going to try to answer all.